All right, here we are. Tommy Points episode 10. Dante, Riley,
10.
double
Yes,
digits.
sir. Yes, sir. We hit it, baby. We hit it.
Episode 10. Shout
go.
out to everyone that has tuned in so far. Become a fan, become a listener, become a viewer. If you are a viewer, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and liking this video, commenting down below, all that good stuff. We love the community we're building, but episode 10 is here. You guys aren't going to, we just talked about this before we hit the record button. You guys aren't going to have fingers to count out episodes anymore.
No, we're going to have to start doing stuff like this or no other way around. I'm still getting used to the camera angle. Yeah, we're going to
hold the 10, I'll hold the 1.
Yeah, we're going to get, me and Riley are going to talk privately after this, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do moving forward.
Stay tuned for that. All right, guys. So no sponsor for this episode. Woe is us. But we do have an awesome discount code to offer to the people. So, if you've been following along, we release some awesome merch. And there will be more merch to come. But the Tommy Points merch is live. We'll put the link in the description of this podcast and the link in the description of the YouTube channel. But we're not just promoting the merch here. We are giving you guys an amazing discount code, and only the first 5 people can use it. So you better act fast.
You gotta be quick.
That discount code is going to be Tommy. It's going to take a percentage off your cart after once you get to checkout. So go do that. It's only the first 5 people to do it. So
better hurry.
Let's get running, boys.
Better hurry.
And
gotta
who knows,
fire shirts.
Yeah, and who knows, we'll tweet it out and whatnot. But you're probably, if you're watching this, it's too late. Better go quick.
Yeah.
But anyways,
as soon as we brought it up, you better be on the website and have that in your cart, because if not, you're gonna miss out. But hey, see what happens.
I'd be willing to say it's gone right now. If you hear me saying this, tough luck. Better luck next time. But all right, guys, we have episode 10. Let's get right into it.
This is getting ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I love Walter. I love Walter. Everybody up there gets a Tommy point.
All right, so we have 3 games to kind of react to, give our take on. The Suns game, the Clippers game, and then the Jazz game. I don't know about you guys, but the one thing I'll say is that just thank God that West Coast trip is over.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of West Coast trips. I'm really not. I mean, personally, the whole 10 o'clock games, hate them. Listen, it's so weird going from having 7 o'clock, 7:30 start times, and all of a sudden just having a week straight of 10 o'clock start times. I mean, it's brutal. I mean, thank God the Suns game was on at 2 o'clock, I guess, on Sunday because there was a Super Bowl. But I'm more than happy going back to 7 o'clock starts. This is too much. Exhausting is the word I want to say.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it over with.
Yeah,
it felt so long. Like when I kept looking at the schedule and I was like, oh, another one, right? I literally thought I was like there was a typo or something, because I feel like it was like New Year's we were doing 10 o'clock starts. Like I don't know, it just felt so long to me.
Yeah, and plus the Celtics, just to throw in the stat, they have the least amount of home games played this year. So thank God they're going home. Thank God. But I think they're playing 5 times in the next 7 or 8 days.
Yeah.
So the schedule, it's not going to slow down for them, but at least they don't have to keep traveling from place to place. So at least there's that.
For sure. What were the takeaways from that Suns game? I guess we're going to briefly touch on these. It was a loss. I feel like it was a tough game. Like I was almost half watching it. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, let's get to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Let's get this thing going. And I don't know if the players were thinking that too, but were there any huge takeaways for you guys in that game?
I mean, everyone's going to talk about Kemba Walker. I mean, he shot 4 for 20, 4 for 11 from 3. The only 4 shots he hit were threes. Only had 14 points. I feel like that's what people are going to take away from this. But people are not going to, say that the team as a whole shot 35% from the field. Yeah, he had a bad shooting night. He missed 16 shots. Tatum missed 14 shots. Carson Edwards, who started, went 1 for 6. Not everyone had a great shooting night. And I think that's just ultimately what the game came down to. They just weren't able to keep up with Phoenix. I mean, going into this season, there were 2 teams I was looking forward to watching this year other than the Celtics. One of them was being Atlanta. and the other one being Phoenix. I think Phoenix is a really good sleeper team, even though I think they're I'm not sure where they are seeding wise right now. I'm going to try to pull it up so I can say it. They're
I
the
got it
fourth
right
seed,
here.
right?
Yeah, I got it
They're
right
the fourth
Yeah,
seed.
13-9.
So I say sleeper, but in all reality, they're a top 4 seed in the West right now. We see this loss, and everyone's just like, it's a game that's winnable, but we can't act like Phoenix isn't a good team. Like, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. It's a solid team. They have a lot of good role players, and they just had a good amount of guys that scored against us. So, I mean, got to give credit where credit is due. They took advantage of the bad shooting night for Boston, and they walked out on Sunday with a win.
And no Jalen too, right?
No Jalen. Yeah, so you got to remember that.
And
too.
no Smart. I feel like I've
And
forgotten
no
that Smart's
Smart.
even on the roster. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, we lost by 9 points, and we were missing 2 of our key starters. And we had Carson Edwards. I don't know how you guys felt about seeing Carson Edwards start against the Suns. Listen, I'm all for him getting more playing time. I feel like he deserves more playing time. Starting, I could probably go without that moving forward.
I think Brad just started him because against.
Go ahead, Ray.
I think Brad just started him because against the Clippers, he scored 16 points, shot 5 of 8, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, he did well.
And it's just not working.
Well,
So
I just don't know Kemba Walker and Carson Edwards in my starting backcourt. That's the only thing. It's like if Kemba Walker isn't healthy and you need a starting point guard, sure, fine, that's cool. But like him and Kemba, like that was a short backcourt.
You're asking for problems there, and I don't know if this is true. They said it on the broadcast watching that game, but a large reason why Carson Edwards started, and I don't know how I feel about this, is because they ran a bunch of simulation games, and Carson Edwards had good games against the Suns.
No,
I swear.
Not true.
I mean, I heard it. I don't know if it's true. But if that's the reason why Brad, if that's why we're getting these wonky lineups out of Brad Stevens, yikes!
Oh man!
Timeout.
Brad
Stevens is
thrown in 2K and saying simulate the game
right now because I this is the first time I'm hearing about this. If Brad Stevens picks his lineups, his starting lineup, 2 center. I don't know how long he's been playing 2K and doing this simulation stuff.
He's in year 2026 of the
what year is
association.
this? We're still in 2021 right now. So it's Brad Stevens. Take a few years back right now. If he does that, then I think I have a problem. I think I got an issue. If we're basing lineups off of 2K simulations, this something's not right. That is the most absurd thing I've heard in a while.
I literally heard it, and then someone's got to comment on this or let us know if I just heard it wrong, because I heard it, and then I immediately took to Twitter and took to like Google. I was like, what, Carson? How do I even search that Carson Edwards simulation?
I'm trying to look it up right now. Yeah, I looked at Boston Celtics simulator starting lineup.
And guess what? You're gonna find all these. I tried it. You can't. You can't find anything.
I'm just gonna have to take your word for it, Evan. I'm gonna have to take your word for it, Evan.
Hey, I'm
Hopefully
like 99.
It's not true.
I hope it's not true, because if it is, I don't know what to think about Brad. Like, the guy's a genius, but this kind of just takes that point away.
Someone's got to back me up in the comments that they heard it too, or else
if anyone knows if this is fact or fiction, please let me know, but let me know especially, because this is information that I need. So
it just threw Dante through a loop.
I'm literally like baffled right now. Like, I don't even know. Like, my head is all over the place.
My head hurts, to be honest.
Okay, so back to before
reel it back in.
Okay, I've been saying this for a little bit, and in these types of situations is when I want to see this happen. I know he just came back from injury. I know like him off the bench is very important for Boston. I want to see Peyton Pritchard get a shot in the starting lineup, man. Like, when everyone's healthy, don't get me wrong, I think he's perfect off the bench. I think that's his role. But like in this type of situation where you're looking for another guard to start, you're looking for someone else to start. I get it. He tried Carson Edwards. Wasn't really the best thing in the world, whatever. But like, if you have this opportunity again, give Peyton Pritchard a shot. Like, I just want to see how he looks with the starting lineup. I just don't think it hurts to try. You know what I mean? And I've been saying the same thing about Semi Ojeleye starting. We start Grant Williams in all these games, and he's been playing better. But
I tried.
Stop. You're throwing me off again. I'm going to get off track now. All right.
I'm just showing you that I did try to do my due diligence, and I couldn't back it up.
I believe you.
Sorry, go on your rant. You're going your Pritchard. Sorry.
I just think, if it comes down to a 2K simulation, I want to know what the result was when you put Peyton Pritchard in the starting lineup, because it has to be better if you throw Carson Edwards in the starting lineup. That's just my opinion. I don't play a lot of 2K. I don't know. I just want to see someone like Pritchard get a shot in the starting lineup. If Brad Stevens is toying around with all these different lineups and trying, starting 3 bigs some days and starting 3 guards the next night, like, give it a shot. It's not going to hurt at this point.
No, in the game Carson Edwards started, Payne Pritchard played more minutes than him. Edwards played 17 minutes, Pritchard played 23. So,
and Jeff Teague played more minutes. He played 1 more minute than Edwards. That doesn't make sense. It's so confusing to me.
And I think if you're even looking at like who deserves it, you know what I mean? Like even throw the simulator out, it's like, okay, well, a simulator could tell me that Carson Edwards is going to drop 1 million points, but based on the last 15 games that we've seen, why don't we go with the guy that's probably deserved it? I know he's coming off the injury, but like who so far in their Celtics career has even shown? It's early for Pritchard, but that even is more to my point. Who's shown that they're going to be a part of this team's future moving forward? I think Pritchard over
not
Edwards.
Jeff Teague. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No,
not Jeff Teague.
Robert Williams, and that's even a stretch there, but no one.
I think the simulator said that Jeff Teague needs to be cut. That's just rumor on the street.
If I did a simulator, I'd make sure Jeff Teague wasn't on the team before I started simulating things. So let's just put it that way. 2K is not real life, Brad. I don't know if this is real, but 2K is not real life. All right, someone needs to tell him these things. I don't know if he knows, but it's not.
These lineups and these rotations, like,
it all makes sense now.
It does.
They were confusing. They were confusing before, but it's now starting to turn into more of a concern rather than confusion. Like, if I'm starting to realize, maybe we won't be able to understand what Brad Stevens is doing, but he's obviously doing something wrong. Like,
yeah. I feel like with the plug and play, like with the plug and play narrative, and I think we talked about it last episode, you know, it's like if you don't know when you're going to go in the game, regardless of your competition or regardless of anything, it's like, when do you, how are you going to be ready? How are you going to be, you know, good to go? Like, what game was it? Was it the Kings game or the Suns game? One of these losses where Tristan Thompson was having his best game of his, I guess that was the career.
I think that was against the Kings.
So, okay, and then all of a sudden he doesn't play the last like 18 minutes of the game, and and Brad Stevens comes out and has the audacity to say it was a matchup concern. How do you? It's not like the Kings just all of a sudden brought up 10 guys from the G League and had a new lineup for the fourth quarter. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like Tristan Thompson was going off against this team, and then, you know, you just gets benched because of matchups. It doesn't make sense to me. And that's the type of thing, I don't think you see that very much in the NBA, where a guy's going off or having a good game, and it's like I guarantee you Tristan Thompson had no clue that he wasn't going to play the last, you know, quarter and a half of that game. If he did, then that's even more scary to me. A guy that like is going off and then he's like, yeah, I'm going to sit for the rest of this game. Like that's puzzling to me. And if that's the case, I think there is reason. I think Riley just said it, like it's like you're concerned or it just doesn't even make sense. It's like, how do you take a guy that's performing and say, yeah, all right, it's enough, hang him up for tonight? It doesn't make sense.
I said this before, and I'll say it again. When the Celtics are playing games and Brad Stevens is sitting on the sideline, he's on his little iPad, he's on his little whatever, he's watching another game.
Nope, he's playing 2K. He's simulating. He's simulating.
He's simulating.
Oh my God.
He's simulating. He goes, all right, let me get to the fourth quarter. Let me see what happens, and then we'll put these guys in. Tristan Thompson didn't do well in his fourth quarter simulator, so he's like, we're not playing him. He doesn't. I don't know if he's not paying attention. I don't know if he's not just. Yeah, listen. If a guy's playing well all game, you got to keep playing him. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what else to say to that. It's just Tristan Thompson, like you said, having one of the best games of his Celtics career, and then you don't play him the rest of the game. It's just, what do you expect to happen? I don't know. I really want to just pick. I want to sit down with him one-on-one and just pick his brain and I just want to know what's going on in that brain, because I got to get an understanding of why he's doing these things. I really do.
He's definitely too analytics focused. Saying like, I wish someone like these after press conferences would ask him about the rotations of the lineups, because I can't find anything. I can't find him explaining it. I can't.
Where's Evan Turner? Didn't we hire Evan Turner to be an assistant? Doesn't everyone like him? Isn't he a player coach? Where is he?
I totally forgot about him.
He was talking about him and Brad Stevens riding off into the sunset a few years ago when he comes back to Boston. I haven't seen him once. I'm not riding off. I don't see them riding off into the sunset. They're going into a deep, dark tunnel right now. There's no sunset. There's no unicorn that they're on. They're on a freaking half-dead camel walking through a dark tunnel. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. But
you know what the bad thing is? That everything you're saying makes so much sense. You don't even know what you're saying.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. I don't even know what I'm saying, but it makes sense. I've never had like that many bad things to say about Brad Stevens before this year. I really haven't. But he's just doing so many weird things this year. It's baffling. It really is baffling me. Robert Williams, we just talked about how, you said he needs to start. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think eventually he needs to start and get that starting role. He played 10 minutes against the Suns. He needs to be playing 20, 25 minutes every single game. That's because he's a guy that impacts you positively whenever he's in the game. And it just baffles me when he doesn't give those guys the minutes that they deserve. It's like, and then we lose these games, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm out of breath right now. You guys take it away.
Let me piggyback on the Robert Williams take, but I got one thing to say too. It's my overall Brad Stevens criticism, and I think it's fair to say, like, Jason Tatum's getting better, Jaylen Brown's getting better. Why is it so bad to ask your coach of the future, even though he's been here for 8 years or whatever? Why is it so bad to say, hey, your coach can get better? He's literally the same coach I feel that he was half the time 4 years ago.
Yeah,
but
fair statement.
So on Robert Williams, right, and it's to that point. We're skipping the Clippers game right now. I think we could talk about the positives of that, but let's stick with the negative narrative that we got. The Jazz game last night.
Let's stay negative here. Let's not be positive. Let's just be negative right now.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move. So they're playing the Jazz last night. They ended up getting whooped by scores end. That game was closer for some of the game, but what they were doing, and I don't know if you guys caught on to this, but it was almost a spit in the face of Robert Williams. Robert Williams would go in when Rudy Gobert came out. The minute they brought Rudy Gobert in, Brad Stevens would run as fast as he could to get Daniel Tice, get him back in the game, and take Robert Williams out. I know Robert Williams is young. I know this is his first sort of real year. But what are you telling your guy of the future? And I think we all agree he's supposed to be the big man of the future. I know Riley kind of started that trend here. It's like, what are you telling him that says, hey, this is the one of the better big men in the league? The minute that literally the second he steps his big toe on the floor, you sit your ass on the bench. Like it was so, and it happened over and over again because there was a time where Rudy Gobert came out, Robert Williams came in for like a minute and a half, and then they brought Gobert back in, and then Robert Williams and Daniel Tice swapped out again. And I'm like, Brad's telling a guy, you're not good enough to hang with him. Or if you're in there with him, you're going to get worked by him. And it's like, but Daniel Tice is the answer. So that's the second part of it. It's like,
and Thompson and Tice were getting worked by him too.
That's my point. So Robert Williams is like, wait a second, I can't do that. It's not like you have the best center in the league swapping out. I get it there. But if Daniel Tice, and I'm not trying to indirectly send ricochet shots over to Daniel Tice, but if Daniel Tice is going in and being like, yeah, I can stop him, and then ends up fouling out of the game, you're telling Robert Williams that you were going to be worse than that, and I think that's an issue.
Guys, I hate to interrupt you. I have a headache right now. I didn't get to watch the game last night. I explained I have to get up early, go to bed early because of work. But you telling me that right there just adds fuel to the fire, I guess. I don't even know what to say to that.
It was one of the worst sort of like, just it's black and white sort of Brad Stevens.
And you know what's crazy is that you saying all that you did doesn't shock me in the slightest. Not in the slightest. That's the worst part. I'm not surprised that he's not pulling stuff off like that.
Yeah.
It's just another example of him probably just looking at analytics rather than looking at the play on the floor, watching the game, seeing work.
Exactly. And to that point, it's like if Daniel Tice is stinking, if Tristan Thompson's stinking, who cares if Robert Williams stinks?
Yeah,
I'm not saying he would have done better, but what's the point of like protecting him from that?
You only get better with the more playing time you get. We've said this about Nesmith. We said this about multiple guys. Carson Edwards, we even brought up because when he gets minutes, he gets better and he's looked a lot better. Robert Williams is in the same boat, but the thing is like he's proven that he's good, that he can contribute. So it's like, what's the issue here? It's not like he's a rookie again, and it's like we don't know what he can bring to the table. We know what he brings to the table, so keep playing him.
He's the captain of that boat. Like he is the definition of the guy that you need to play to get better. Yeah.
I think as far as people like being inconsistent with minutes, that's where I was going with that.
And it's funny because it's like they don't coexist when they can coexist. So not to take this totally towards Grant Williams, but it's wild to me that Brad Stevens, I feel like, watches them and says, they can't play at the same time. It's like, well, they can. One plays the 4, one plays the 5, or interchange.
Simple.
Like it's
simple. There's five different positions, Brad. Not everyone has to play.
I know what it is. Oh wow, I figured it out. The analytics has Williams in it. All he did was Williams, and only one of them show up at a time.
Williams.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it is.
Williams. G. Williams.
But either way, it's like I feel like you don't get better with playing time. Even Carson Edwards, I don't think Carson Edwards has like the role on this team, but he's a good example too. He is done with the Celtics. I know he's had some good games. I know he's kind of like made us smile a little. All he's doing is upping his trade value because he's not the guard of the future for this team. Because I think he's been used up, I guess.
I'm with that.
Any other negative comments about the games?
Grant Williams.
Ooh, all right. Let's talk Grant real quick. All right.
All right. So Grant Williams last night against the Jazz, in the span of 68 seconds, missed 2 threes, had 2 personal fouls, and 1 turnover.
He's been shooting very well from 3 lately.
He has.
Can I just say that? Can I just throw that in? I want to bring some positivity into this right now. Okay, listen, I'm still not like jumping on. I'm not gonna say Grant Williams deserves 30 minutes, this and that. Like I'm not saying any of that, but he has been doing a lot better with shooting the ball, and I think that's one thing that fans have really wanted him to get better at because, we've seen it. I mean, last year, at the start of his rookie year, where he go 0 for 30 to start his career shooting. So it's just like, he was such a poor 3-point shooter. Even in college, he was an average I think he was a 37% 3-point shooter in college. I'm not sure what the average 3-point percent is, but I mean, that's pretty good. I think that's average in the NBA. So I think just one thing, if he's in there, there's certain things that he's not that great at yet. We say that some people say he's a good defender, this and that, but there are times where he doesn't look like a good defender. People say he's a good all-around player, but there are times that he doesn't look like a good all-around player. The one thing that he needs to be good at is shooting the ball, because if he's left open, he needs to hit these 3 balls.
That gets you playing time.
And it gets you playing time. And you know what? He's been, the last 5 games, I'm looking at it right now. There's only one game where he had less than 23 minutes. And I think that's showing that Brad Stevens is rewarding him for that. I think he's shooting 53% from 3 in the month of February. But he's shooting 46% from 3 this year. So that is an improvement, but I'm with you. Like there are still a lot of things.
So he's shooting nice from 3, but what do we think of?
Oh God, I'm not looking forward to this.
Of something like this. This is
I
from
don't want
3.
to see this again.
I didn't see this, so I don't.
Dante, this is your first time
my
seeing
headache
this?
is just gonna start pounding.
Yikes! All right, so this is catering towards the YouTube crowd, but go check it out on YouTube if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or Spotify or Google Podcasts. But check this out: he's shooting well from 3, but then he gets the ball for a bunny like this.
Oh, I saw this. Oh no! Oh, I did see that. The bench reaction was brutal.
He's at the restricted circle and he airballs it by 8 feet.
That's so bad. That's so bad, Grant.
All of our role players are inconsistent.
I said he was better at shooting 3s, not layups, all right?
I know, that's fair.
All of our role players are inconsistent. We all know that. That's been the problem. But it's like when he's bad, he's
bad.
That's what it is. He's
and it's not like he makes up for it when he's good and he's like really good. Like when he's good, he's helping the team, but he's hurting the team more overall, in my opinion.
And it's perfectly for what I was going to say. When he does things, he does some good things, but it's almost like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. He literally does, like, he'll meet guys. He's had 2 great blocks in the past, 4 games, where he literally meets a bigger guy at the rim, blocks him, and then he goes down the court and just fumbles the ball and turns it over. I'm like, okay, that's 1 for 1, fine. But then no, on the other end, now all of a sudden he commits a foul. I'm like, okay, well that was one really, really good thing, and then you just forgot that you were playing basketball 2 possessions later. So I will say and this is almost to Dante's standing Grant Williams at the beginning of this podcast. Grant Williams stunk to start the year. At least we're getting some good stuff out of him. So I think, if we are looking at the trend, he is trending up, but
and like we've talked before, he doesn't have to put up great stats. Him and Semi help space the floor for Jalen and Jason. But if he could score, that it would just be smart.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it, Ev. I mean, it's just like if you compare him to how he started the year, he is definitely improving. He's gotten better, but it's still not like it's not like night and day. It's still pretty dark out, but we're seeing a little bit of light. The moon is shining on us, the stars are out and everything, but the sun isn't out yet. But hopefully we get there. I don't know when, I don't know if we will, but that's just how it is right now, I guess.
Here we go. Ev, the master of transitions here. Let's talk about that light. The Celtics did play the Clippers in the middle of these two games that we're complaining about. They beat one of the best teams and probably regarded by many the best team in the league, the Clippers, 119-115. No Paul George in this game, so I know when I was doing my post-game stream, people were saying that, and I was
no Jalen either.
I was like, no Jalen, and Jalen's having a better year than Paul George,
and no Smart. So there you go.
And that was no Patrick Beverly, and I was like, well, the two Celtics guys are literally putting up better stats than your two Clippers guys.
You're gonna put Patrick Beverly in the same category as those three guys? Get out of here. Get out of here. They're probably better without Patrick Beverly, to be honest with you.
Patrick Beverly years ago.
So overrated.
So Jason Tatum went off for 34 points. Tell him he's playing the Clippers. I know we made the joke last episode or 2 episodes ago about telling Carson Edwards that you're playing the Cavs every single night. You tell Jason Tatum he's playing the Clippers, he's going to drop 30 plus. I think it's like 3 or 4 straight games of 30 plus from him against the Clippers. But that was all well and good. But the one thing I do want to talk about, and I think it's going to be a guy that we discuss heavily for the rest of this episode, Kemba Walker had one of probably his best game this season. He had 24 points, 4 assists, and he started the game so poorly. So that 24 points really came, I want to almost say, for the majority of it, came in like the last 3 quarters, and then a chunk of it at the end of the game. So what do we got for positive takeaways here, guys? We've been super negative. Anyone that still stayed with us needs a breath of fresh air here.
Yeah, this was just a great game from Kemba. Thompson played well as well. 4 from 6 from the line. Scored 11. Grant Williams scored 11. It was Edwards scored 16 too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
He was the one that kept them in it. So he was the one that kept them in it. At the beginning of that game, they were getting worked, and then Carson Edwards is the only spark plug. And then one thing, too, on the injury note, if we even have to rub salt in the wound of the Clippers, Daniel Tice got injured early and didn't play the rest of the game. So we had, I know it's Daniel Tice. He's not necessarily the best starter in the world, but a go-to big man, a starter big man injured for the rest of that game, too. So no excuses from the Clippers end. I don't like the injury sort of excuses, but...
Yeah, here are my takeaways. So one, obviously, Kemba Walker, he was hitting the shots that he was missing against the Lakers. Yeah, he was hitting, I remember in the fourth, in the clutch, one of the clutch shots that we need to hit to keep ourselves ahead of the Clippers was probably almost exactly the same mid-range shot that he missed against the Lakers. So, that's a good sign to see. Obviously, he's not putting up these types of performances every single night, and, more times than not, it's not been great performances, but it's nice to see that he's stepping up against, these big teams like the Clippers. And we'll get to the Jazz when we get to the Jazz. But I just want to kind of bring this to light. So this is what I took away from the West Coast trip period. Actually, this is what I took away since the Lakers game. I know, it's been a discussion, like people have been debating, is Jason Tatum a top 10 player? Is Jason Tatum a superstar? If he's not, how close he is to being a superstar? I'm just going to say this. I'm done debating about it and arguing about it. Jason Tatum's a top 10 player in the NBA, and he's a superstar. There's no more debate from me. There's no thinking, when will he be a superstar? He's a superstar right now. There's one game this year that he scored less than 20 points, and that was the 5th game of the year, 16 points. Since then, he's been shooting fantastically for us. He's having an efficient year for someone that shoots as much as he does. I think he's shooting 47% from the field, 42% from 3, and 80-something% from the free throw line. Every game, if we need someone, he's always there. We can rely on him. Even if other guys aren't playing well, you can still count on Tatum to step up and give you something. Against these big teams like the Clippers, 34 points. He steps up against these big teams. I'm looking at his stat sheet right now. That game against Toronto, when they went down by a ton to start, and then they came back, he had 40 that game. So he was a huge part of that comeback. I just think I just think he's a superstar. There's no debating it anymore. He's a top 10 player. And, if anyone says otherwise, I'm just going to disagree with them.
I think he's literally playing like fringe top 5.
I'm saying top 10, and that's like kind of putting it lightly. I don't know. Like, if you can give me 10 players that are better than Jason Tatum, I want you to try, because I don't think you can. I really don't think you can. You can make an argument that he's like top 7, top 8 this year.
Yeah.
You really could. He's been playing that well.
I think the argument for a superstar in top 10 has moved to Jaylen Brown. I think we've started to realize that Tatum's superstar. He's top 10.
Yep.
Yep. He's on the cusp, getting in.
Cusp of being a superstar. Yeah, he's
even though, not his assists, not his rebounds, not his points right now. Most of his stats are better than Tatum's this year. I still think he needs to do it throughout the whole year.
Exactly. So what I was going to say off of that was, I think if he continues to have the year that he does, and he finishes, the season, postseason, still playing at a high level that he is, and then he goes in the next season and he continues to play like it, that's when he's going to start to get called a superstar. I just think, because same thing with Tatum, like he had a very good second half of the year last year. I think when he started going off, it was like January. So people were like, okay, let's see what he does the next year. And we're 20-something games in, and he hasn't disappointed once. So I think it's very clear that he's a superstar at this point.
I'm telling you, when the tides will turn for Jaylen Brown is when he gets named the All-Star. We literally saw it happen for Tatum. Tatum got named an All-Star and then just went bonkers.
Berserk, yeah.
Jaylen Brown is going to get that sort of nod, and then all of a sudden, we've seen it, but all of a sudden, casual NBA fans of other teams are going to kind of respect it. And then also Jaylen Brown's going to have the validation, and then I can't wait to see what's going to happen, because he's fighting right now. Because, to your point, Riley, you said he's kind of in that, is he a superstar yet, or is he top 10 conversation? Anyone can put that to bed right now, being like, you can't tell me a guy that hasn't been an all-star yet as a top 10 player.
Yeah.
And that's true. But the minute you can say that, which it's going to be the case, it's kind of like, well, if that's what you were waiting for, then he accomplished that. So now
and
just
wait until he makes the All NBA team this year too, because that's going to happen. Once he starts racking up those accolades and stuff like that, it's going to be hard to say that he's not, if he keeps playing the way he is. And it's incredible. I mean, I know we've said this a million times, but it's just like the hard part is over. We got 2 guys. We got 2 basically superstars. We just got to make it work with them. We just got to make sure we put the right pieces around them. That's it. That's literally all we got to do now. We're over the hump. Now we just got to keep pushing forward and get these guys, surround them with the right guys. That's it. That's literally it.
Yeah. And I think Brown's going to be an all-star this year. I think he's going to make the all-NBA team. And I think he's going to be the most improved player in the NBA. If you look at his stats, he's averaging a career high in points, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, and less fouls.
You're just reading off any stat under the book. You go down the list. It's like Jalen's better at this, better at this, better. It's crazy.
He's averaging like 0.8 less rebounds than his career high. So it's basically all career highs. Like,
yeah. Same thing with Tatum too. I mean, not saying he's in the most improved player category, because I think he's a too high of a level to be getting those types of awards. But I mean, if you look at his stats, I mean, they're almost all career highs too, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's averaging a career high in steals, points, assists, and rebounds.
Crazy. You love to see it. You really do love to see it.
All right, guys, before we get into any of the voicemails, we do have a couple to play. We didn't really we talked about the Jazz game, but we didn't talk about it because we talked about, the Robert Williams, some other things. That the biggest glaring, and I mean, in one note too, Jaylen Brown, 33 points against the Jazz, so he's kind of the only one that came to play.
Too. Pretty impressive.
And it was a game time decision. It wasn't even like he was completely prepping and whatnot for that game. But I think that was a negative game overall, because they did end up getting smacked. And Kemba Walker at 7 points. And he shot like 16% or something from the field. That's tough.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Am I concerned? A little bit. Am I more frustrated than I am concerned? Absolutely. Here's the thing here's my stance on Kemba Walker. There's still, I mean, I can go through my mentions, and we can have a full episode just going off of what people are saying about Kemba Walker. People want him gone. People want him traded. People want him this and that. People are done, giving all these excuses to him. I don't really care. Not that I don't care. I'm not as concerned about how he plays against the Jazz in February or how he plays against the Suns in February. I'm just thinking of random teams.
But especially coming back from the injury. So I know
he's played 10 games, all right? He's missed half the season. You don't shake the rust off right away. Some players, it takes longer than others. You know what I mean? It's just that's how it is. If he's playing like this in April, May, June, then absolutely I'm concerned. And then at that point, you got to start thinking, what are you going to do moving forward? I don't care what he does right now. I don't care if he's playing this poorly right now. It's just a matter of him getting better. I want to see him adjust and get better as the year goes on. I think it's pretty obvious that he's having a hard time adjusting to being the clear third guy behind Jason and Jalen. We've said this before. Jason and Jalen don't have to adjust to anything. They don't have to worry about adjusting to Kemba Walker's play style. It's Kemba Walker that needs to adjust to playing behind those two guys. It might take a little bit. And I think once the playoffs come around, Brad Stevens said, Kemba Walker is going to be that guy. I'm confident that he's still going to be that guy for us. And so am I. I'm not giving up on a guy because of a few bad games in the 10 games that he's played this year. I just can't throw him under the bus that quickly. And not for nothing, Dan Greenberg, the Barstool guy that covers the Celtics, he put out this picture today. There was an 8-game stretch last year where he, before the All-Star break, before his injury and everything, where he was literally having games where he was shooting 20-something percent, 30% from whatever. And, people are forgetting that, people weren't freaking out then, but they're freaking out now that he's having poor games after coming back from a legit injury. So it's just, we've been through this before, and obviously he was an all-star last year, even after all those games. So right now I'm a little concerned, but not fully concerned. I'm frustrated, but I think he's still going to get much, much better as the season progresses, and I'm just going to look forward to how he plays around playoff time.
I understand why Celtics fans are concerned, but I feel like at this point, it's like we talked about, it's kind of pointless to be concerned because there's nothing we can do but ride it out.
Exactly.
Value, we just gotta ride it out, see how he does. And to go back to last week's voicemails, I remember people talking about Kemba not showing up in big games. His best game
against the Clippers.
It was against the Clippers. So
true.
It's just the inconsistency. I feel it's just from not playing basketball in so long.
Yeah, and that's the thing is too. It's not like he doesn't look good on the court. It's not like he's moving funny or anything like that. Like if that was the case, then you'd.
That's
be
why I don't
very
get the
concerned.
injury. That's why I don't get when people talk about the injury. It's like, well, what the injury isn't telling you
it's
that
just
he's playing
rusty.
bad right now.
He's
he's back from the injury, and to be honest, he's playing a new role that he's never played before.
Exactly.
Not even the second option on the team.
If you think about it, last year when we brought him in the first few months before he got hurt, we literally signed him to be one of the top option before Tatum emerged. Yeah, as well as
he was our first option last few months of the season, or the first month of the season.
Exactly. That's what. So now he's coming back, and now he's the third option. He's never been that in his career. It's just like I said, sometimes some players can adjust easily to new roles or coming back from injuries. Some players, it's not that easy. That's why we can't be worried about what's happening in February. If this was April, May, sure, but it's not. It's February. All right. We can chill out. We have plenty of basketball left.
And we have to chill out.
Yeah.
We have to. Everyone just chill out. All right. Everyone just take a chill.
You're not gonna trade Kemba Walker for a bag of chips right now because his value's low. You know what I mean? So you might as well ride it out.
Kemba Walker isn't going anywhere. We can't trade him anywhere. It's not gonna happen. So it's just, if you're frustrated with him, whatever it is, suck it up. I'm not trying to be mean, but suck it up. I mean, he's gonna be here all year, so you might as well get to it or start supporting him. Because if he's miserable, then.
To me, he's in a slump, right? But it just so happens that he started his comeback in a slump, and now it looks terrible, Yeah. If he had played all year long, was going off in the beginning of the year, had this 10-game stretch of stinking, then it's not as big of a deal. But all right, we got a voicemail related to Kemba. It's coming after the Clippers game, so I think it'll be more of a positive Kemba. But let me know if you guys can hear this.
Hey guys, this is Liam from Atlanta again. First of all, I just want to say all the people who say trade Kemba, he just shut them up after that Clippers game. I mean, fourth quarter, absolutely came out, dominated, hit clutch free throws at the end. He played great. Very happy with the performance. That being said, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on how Kemba.
Oh, that's my fault.
Great. Very happy with the performance. That being said, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on how Kemba is going to fit into the offensive game plan from now on. In last season, he kind of was the number 2 option behind Tatum, with Brown being the 3rd option. Now we have Tatum as the 1 option, Brown as the 2 option. Obviously, that's kind of interchangeable depending on the game, but Kemba's now more or less the 3rd option on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to know how you guys think he'll fit in with the new game plan. Is he going to play kind of the same role as kind of a facilitator, pick and roll guy, pick and pop guy? I want to hear your thoughts on how Stevens is going to reincorporate him now that Brown has really emerged as just as good of an offensive force as Tatum. Thanks, guys.
So I feel like we kind of talked about it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, once he figures it out, he's going to be a deadly 3rd option. I mean, if Kemba Walker is the 3rd option, I mean, that's pretty damn good. When he's healthy, when he's playing at the level that he usually plays at, that's really, really good. And just to kind of just answer the bulk of it, like what kind of role I think he's going to play, I don't think he's going to be a guy that necessarily should. Not that he shouldn't, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to have the ball in his hands as much as he's used to. Like, obviously, Tatum Brown is going to have the ball in their hands. Marcus Smart is averaging a career high in assists this year. He's been the primary playmaker for the Celtics. He's been just really, really good at just getting guys open, his teammates open, this and that. I think Kemba Walker is going to be more used as just a pure scorer, whether it's off ball, trying to get him open for threes, or he's coming off of pick and rolls and he hits those threes off the picks and stuff like that. I can see him playing that type of game. I can't see him being like a true playmaker at this point. And it's not that it's a bad thing, not that he can't do it. I just don't think that that's going to be his role moving forward. I think it's just going to be more of a scoring option.
Yeah. At this point, I'd like him to, probably just average, 20 points, 5 assists, maybe a little bit generous. But it's interesting he brought that up, because I was going to mention that before we actually listened to the voicemail, that Kemba had already said last year that, he was willing to sit behind Tatum and Brown. But like he mentioned, Brown wasn't really as hot last year, so Kemba was kind of the 2nd option. So I think he's struggling now that Brown's taken the leap and he actually is the 3rd option. When last year, obviously he said, he would, but he wasn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, it's now okay. Let me ask you this: so, if we not directly answer the voicemail, if we kind of like take the voicemail and draw a fuzzy line here, if he says, "Do you think Kemba Walker is going to be able to fit into this role?" Do you guys have yes or no's? I think I know the answer, but is it like a clear yes? Do you think Kemba Walker takes on that role?
I can't give you 100% yes. I'd probably give you like a 75, 80% yes. I think he can, and I believe he will. But of course, there's that tiny bit of uncertainty just going off of how he's playing now. But I think eventually he'll find his role, and I think it'll work out.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes as well. I think I'm going to go about 76%, just a one-off one.
What is his Price is Right or something like that?
Honestly, I think he can become a facilitator, playmaker, or but I'm just not sure. I think he can just because he's a winner. He wants to win, so he'll do anything it takes to.
That's true. Yeah,
in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Sure. I asked the question because I believe I'm right there with you guys. I'm probably like 76.1% if we're just guessing here. But no,
we're just throwing decimals out there now.
Yeah, that was part of the rules. You guys should have asked. But I feel like it could be the Celtics bias in me saying that, because realistically, Kemba's never shown that he is sort of that 3rd option. He's never had the opportunity to be a 3rd option, so it's not his fault. But I like that none of us are like, oh, yeah, 100% he's going to be the passing, sort of facilitating, catch a ball off the screen, ball not in his hand type player. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I like that we're confident in it, so that's good.
Yeah,
Marcus Smart is the kind of guy to rub off on his teammates. So if Kemba really does want to become better faster, then Marcus Smart would help him, in my opinion.
Yeah. Very true.
Another thing too, I want to point out. This is also something that Dan Greenberg from Barstool talked about. The minutes that they've played together, Kemba, Smart, Jalen Jason, and Tice Thompson, whatever it was, they've played less than 100 minutes together. And then you compare them to the other starting lineups just in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers have almost 300 minutes. It's just this team hasn't had the chance to play together. I mean, last year, Kemba, Smart, Hayward, Jalen Jason, they only played together for 12 games out of the 60, 70, whatever it was. It's just like we're not having the time to actually build this not build a chemistry, because I think the chemistry is there, but just make it work. It's when you guys are constantly in and out of the lineup, it's tough to make that work. It's Rome wasn't built in a day. So in this case, since we have all these injuries, since guys are going in and out of the lineup, it might take a little bit for them to figure it out. And that's why I'm telling people to be patient, because it's like we have barely seen our true best starting five play this year. And it's like you can't really freak out until we see what they actually do with a extensive run and not just 70 minutes of playing time.
Yeah, I think I saw that stat from Greenberg. I think it was like the Sixers were second in the league in minutes played, like all their starters together.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Were fifth, and then Boston was like 21st.
Yeah, it's such a drop off. So that's why I'm saying people can't be freaking out. It's like you got to look at these things too.
It does. It still
it's
sucks.
It
sucks. Yeah, absolutely.
It is the reality. Like it's not like we're gonna win the championship. No, like the Celtics have had these injuries and have showing no signs of them like going away. So it definitely sucks, and it is the reality. But it is a reason. You know what I mean? Like it is. Yeah, it is an explanation.
It's not an excuse per se. It's just facts. It's just facts.
Yeah.
Can't argue facts.
And to go a little off topic, just since we're talking about Greenberg, I get a lot of stats from him as well. For the Clippers game, I have some stats here. But Tatum guarded Kawhi 19 possessions. Kawhi scored 1 point on 0-2 shooting. And then when Kawhi guarded Tatum for 8 possessions, Tatum scored 7 points on 2 of 3 shooting. Which actually was a fun fact.
Kawhi can't guard Tatum.
He did that. Didn't he do that in one of their games last year too? Or it was like the last. It was Kawhi didn't score on Tatum, and then Tatum scored a bunch on Kawhi. Like I think he might have his number, because that's not the first time. That's pretty crazy.
Hey, that's what a superstar does. Am I right?
Yeah, there we
that's
go.
what a superstar does.
All right, we got another voicemail here. It's not Kemba related. Any more Kemba thoughts?
No, I think I'm
Kemba'd out.
Yeah, we can.
I'm sure people watching and listening are too. But here we go. This is coming in. Both of these voicemail callers, by the way, called in last week. So I love that we're getting the recurring callers here. So shout out to you guys.
Keep them coming.
The number to call in is 617-299-9269.
Hey.
So if you want to hear yourself on the podcast, and honestly, I don't know about you guys, feel free to shoot this down. But if someone wants to call in, they can plug whatever they got going on in their life too.
Yeah,
shout out your Twitter, shout out your podcast, anything. Yeah, you give us content, we owe you that. All right,
Absolutely.
Here
Your boy Ben from Charlottesville again. I have kind of like a 2-part question for you guys. The first part is, do you guys think, like I think, that the Celtics play better when they're down, whether it's down in players or down in score? I feel like we play up to our competition always, or even better than our competition when we're down. But when we're up in score or we have all our players, I feel like we play down to the level of competition and we let teams come back. We blow really important leads. I don't really understand what's going on with that. And as far as the down players thing, I know we can't control injuries, but have you guys noticed that our biggest wins this season have all come with a player out? For example, the Indiana game, or the Bucks game, the first game, or even our biggest win, in my opinion, the Clippers game. Tell me what you guys think. Love you guys. Appreciate the love.
What was his name?
Great voicemail.
That was Ben.
Ben, let me tell you something, buddy. I've noticed this for a long time. The Celtics, Brad Stevens is just a great coach when they don't have all their players healthy. That's why it's so confusing how when he does have guys that are healthy and he has everyone, he doesn't make it work. But yet when you're down guys, he does make it work.
He does more with less.
Yeah, he does more with less. I literally, this has been something that I mean, we've all probably noticed for years. Like playing down to our competition, when the Celtics go up by a lot and they start blowing leads, the reason why they do that is because they get comfortable with that lead and they start thinking, oh, we got this one in the bag, the game's over. But it's the NBA, and once you take your foot off the gas, the other team can just go full throttle and just make a comeback, and we've seen that happen multiple times this year. That's also something that we've all noticed over the last few years as well. This isn't anything new. As much as it sucks, this isn't anything new. So yeah, I do agree that they play down to their competition, and when they're down players, they play better. I don't know the reasoning for that. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or if it's just like something to do with the line. I don't know. But yeah, no, I agree that they play down and they play better without their big players.
In my opinion, for the blowing leads part, it's definitely a coaching thing.
Yeah.
If the guys aren't fired up, going into the huddle, then how are they going to?
You gotta play with the same intensity for all 48 minutes. You gotta play like it's a tie game the entire way.
I never see Brad out there just firing the guys up or just being looking
intense. The word he's
he
not
likes
intense.
To use his inside voice when
his
going on.
His intensity is absent. And Dante, you said it. It's like you can't come in. The way you get a big lead is by playing intense. Well, the players do that themselves. The minute you get up, all of a sudden the players are, taking it easy, just looking to get out of there, getting ready to soak in the victory. A coach needs to say, hey, 23-year-old, snap back into it. This game isn't over. Mm-hmm. And if no one's telling you that, I don't blame Jason Tatum or Peyton Pritchard or Jalen, any of these guys that are 23, 24 years old to be like tuning out for a little bit or zoning out. They need a coach, a figure to be like, hey, game's not over. You're a pro. Keep going. And
I want to see Stevens bench a guy for walking. Like everyone hustles.
Yeah.
That kind of mentality.
Yeah,
for sure.
But the inconsistent, the coming back from games or the blowing leads just goes back to, other than Tatum and Brown, sometimes every player on the Celtics is inconsistent. So that, in my opinion, that's why we come back sometimes and we blow leads sometimes, because we just don't know what we're going to get from these players.
I think you're right.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's the truth. It's the cold, hard truth.
It is. It's unfortunate, but some of those things that Ben mentioned there, I don't know if they go away just by doing what you're doing. They're not sort of things that get rid of themselves. You know what I mean? Active change needs to happen if they want to prevent those type of things. And whether that's blowing games or, playing better when you're down because your bench is better, whatever it is, you need to either get the bench better or Brad Stevens needs to get a little bit more intensity. You keep doing what you're doing. It's the definition of insanity, right? You're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
I feel like we have. I feel like we've played down to our competition for years. Like, not just here.
I'm numb to it at this point. I'm used to it. I really am. Like, when I see it happen, I'm not shocked anymore. That's expected.
Well, I kind of expect it.
Yeah. It sucks. It's so sad. It's so sad to actually say it out loud.
A 20-point lead, and you're like, this game's not even close to being over.
Yeah. No. Oh my gosh. If you're a Celtics fan and you're still comfortable with the team when they're up by 20, God bless your heart, because I'm not. I'm still sweating it out if they're up 20, because I know how they play and I know that they'll somehow.
I know that those are going to be the games that it comes down to the most wire.
Oh yeah,
like, the ones be the closest game.
The ones where you think that the stars are going to sit, they're not going to have to play much in the second half. No, that's the game where that they're going to have to be ready to play in the fourth. That's that game. So it's sad. It's a sad truth.
It is. But they do have a winnable schedule coming up, so I think that's a good thing. We don't need to break down every single game, but I think we can all agree the Celtics, just to get the season back on track, need a streak to happen, because these losses are adding up. As much as we want to say, this is what's going on behind the scenes with the losses and whatnot, they are adding up. So, obviously, hopefully when we're doing next episode and whatnot, we're talking about some more wins. I think this episode probably was kind of negative, but at the same time, we're probably in the majority, right? Like, yeah. I can't imagine most of Celtics Nation is like, rah, this team is killing it right now.
No, I mean,
we're a good representation of what's going on.
On my Twitter, you won't see anyone celebrating. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, we started out 7-3. In our last 13 games, we're 5-8.
Yeah,
Not great.
that's not great.
No,
Not
it's
great at
not
all.
the best. It's not the best. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still plenty of time left. I mean, I remember there was this article that came out, and they were talking about the Celtics and their struggles and this and that, and they're talking about how they're a game and a half from being the 8th seed. True. They're also a half a game from being the 3rd seed. So
Yeah.
let's not
Yeah.
just paint it like this team is just, they're in such
I
a
know.
bad spot. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I
It's
know.
just like not everyone. It's a weird year. I'm not using it as an excuse, but it's true. It's just a very, very weird season in the NBA, just with
It is.
everything going on, just the way, no fans, obviously that's a factor, just players being in and out because of COVID. I mean, the Celtics, they got hit. Not the hardest, but they got hit pretty hard with COVID. I mean, there are teams that had it worse, like Washington got absolutely destroyed from it. But like the Celtics were in a very tough spot for a little bit because of that. So it's just like, you have to just consider these things. I'm not saying you have to use it as an excuse, but like you just have to just note that these things are actually happening and that they can lead to what we're seeing right now. And that's what I believe is happening. Just a lot of different things affecting this team. And as time goes on, I think those things will sort themselves out. And once the playoffs come around, I am very confident that this team will look much, much better than they do right now. And those are my closing thoughts. So, floor is yours.
I think you put it well.
The Celtics schedule, the next 10 games, not too hard. They played Denver, they played Atlanta a few times. I think we can go 7-3, 8-2 over these next 10 games. So
They need to go on a little run, definitely.
hopefully the next podcast will be super happy.
Hopefully.
Yeah. 5 of their next 6 games are at home too. So I know it's just, we kind of talked about that earlier, but being at home and not having to worry about flying from here to there and all that stuff, it definitely takes a lot of pressure off their shoulders. So I think this is definitely going to be good for the team.
Agreed. I think that as negative as an episode that was, hopefully everyone that watched or listened did enjoy some of our simulation theories and some of our laughs here. Because
don't even, I forgot about that. Don't. Enough of that. I'm going to do extensive research on that.
I need you to go ahead.
I'm going to find something because
I want to be proven wrong.
I'm telling you right now, if I find this and I find it's true, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to go insane. I don't know what I'm going to say next episode. I might need a filter. I might need a muzzle. I don't know. You guys might not have to mute me the entire episode.
If it's true. If it's actually true, then I'm down to fire Brad Stevens.
Yeah, that's the
Are you kidding me? It's like,
that's ridiculous. It's honestly quite literally one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard for just an NBA theory. I gotta look it up.
The sad thing is, there's a part of me that thinks it might be true.
Oh, me too. That's why I'm worried. I'm worried that this is actually true. At this point, I believe it's true. At this point, like, it wouldn't shock me. At this point. All right, I'm done with talking with the simulator.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say?
I don't think so. I think it was a great episode. Shout out to us for it. But thank you to everyone that has tuned in and made it all the way. Yeah, they grow up so fast. The podcast is already 10 episodes old. But yeah, shout out to everyone that's tuned in. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel and like this video. Anything we said, and we need the help with the Brad Stevens thing, make sure to comment down below. But you can follow us on Twitter at TommyPointsPod. You can follow Riley on Twitter at Color Sports. Follow Dante on Twitter at Dante on Deck. And you can follow me on Twitter at EvGuyBoston. Good episode, boys. And hopefully we're talking about some more wins coming up soon. But I think that wraps it up for episode 10.
No more simulators.
No more.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll catch you guys in the next show.
Peace out, guys.